Well, hello everybody. I have so much to go through, so much to post. I've collected so many pictures. I've had a tremendous experience here in the United States. Lots of photos of lots of Americans from so many states. It was an incredible journey with lots of experiences. Today was a doozy. I had lots. I went through a lot. I went through North Dakota, and I've been through North Dakota before, but I got pulled over on their new 80 highway. So I've been through USA several times, and I like to do the trip from Alberta. Usually I go through Saskatchewan. This time I'm coming back through the Montana Coots border. Want to go through that, see that border crossing. Haven't done it for many decades. So I want to check that out. That's going to be our last border entry for Alberta. But I want to hit some topics. I have lots to do. It's going to take several videos, and I have so many posts to make to go through all my experiences that I haven't really shared yet. And I guess I'll do that when I'm back in Alberta. I'll be back tomorrow night. I want to talk about a number of things that are really majorly different between Canada and USA. Policing is huge. I went through that experience today. I've gone through it before, but North Dakota, Montana, they've changed their highway speeds to 80 mile an hour now, and that puts us just under 130 kilometers an hour. That's general interstate speed for those two states. So I was shocked at what I call the Arkansas Autobahn, where they have 80 zones, and those highways are really twisty, turny, up and down through mountains, lots of cornering. You almost need a stock car or a good street bike to go through that. I felt I did it, and but it was white knuckle. I also just did this, and I got pulled over. I'm going a little over 80, and then they pull you over because they just started this August 1st. August 1st, they've changed their interstates to 80 mile an hour, and I got caught going about 130, and just 1 to 4 miles in North Dakota, they're pulling people over for that if you're 1 to 4 miles over the speed limit, because it's a new change, and they just issue you a warning. Went through all the fentanyl with me, all of that. They're high alert for that, especially out western Canada. So everybody knows. Yesterday I did Minnesota. I went right to the border town, International Falls. Met lots of Americans. Again, I got pictures. No pressure like any of that I see out from western Canada. So Alberta, BC are high alert. I can tell you that. American police officers are high alert for anybody coming out west, more so than anything out eastern Canada. I can tell you that 100%. And that's why, specifically, I'm going through Coots, because I want to see what that's all about and how that goes. I have nothing to hide, so I'm not worried. And this officer was tremendously nice. A sheriff in the county in North Dakota said, yeah, we're watching for this stuff. Do I need to go through your car? And everybody, I'm loaded to the nuts. That little car I got, little Maria, she's weighted right down. You open my trunk, fully loaded, tons of tools, tons of stuff I collected in Ontario, massive tooling, lift. There's not a job I can't do. And in fact, today I pulled over in Minnesota. My rear end was going, my bearings, and I finally swapped those out, got it done on the side of the road. But all the people in the border towns, heavy supportive of Canada, the 51st state. I went through all of that. It was amazing. I'm going to test the waters tomorrow in the Coots Crossing, see how those Americans feel about Canada, the 51st state. I can tell you out east and through 3 states, heavily supportive of all the people, the pictures. I got permissions to use their names, use their likeness. I changed up my way of doing things since my Nashville experience, and I have people in Nashville too. There were a couple, but I had an overwhelming majority hate Trump, hate Canada 51st state because my Trump stuff, right? But other than that, I changed it up. And what I start doing to people say, "Hi, my name's Dave Bjorkman. I've been on your Fox News. I've been on a number of your NBC. I got all these news stories." And then they went, What's your name?" They look it up and they see. And I go, "Yeah, did you know that Trump and Bernie Sanders are into this stuff? Let me tell you about the benefits of Canada, the 51st state, how we're stronger together, more prosperous together." When I did that, man, everybody, and I can tell you, working class Americans really gravitated to it, all the things I said. Some older Americans, I would say wealthier Americans, touring Americans with lots of money, were not really into Canada, the 51st state. I had a lot of negativity from that kind of side of it, or full on Democrats. Even with the Bernie Sanders, I had one woman just flick on the Bernie channel, well, not Bernie channel, but an interview of Bernie Sanders in the establishment, and how he's running down Trump. And he wouldn't be for that, didn't even want to look at the news stories, didn't want to look at what I had. But other than that, it was terrific. Um, Policing is terrific. Every state, every county, every community, all of them have different vehicles. Sheriffs elected, deputies through that sheriff. It's all great. You respect the law, they respect you. Um, they stay in their lane in their area, and they really are serve and protect. I got pictures anyway, things I would never see a Canadian cop ever in my life or imagination ever participate in. I saw in multiple states, multiple, and then of course today I had a real pullover interaction. I couldn't find my insurance on my phone. It was kind of not good cell service. I have it now, and of course after I'm kicking myself, I'm like, oh man, if I had just searched pictures, I had it, but I'm going to my files. First to go to my email. Holy crap, old expired ones are coming up. I can't find my new one. And I don't know the name of the agent that sent me that email, and it won't come up even though I do the insurance search. I had registration, license, all that. And he came back, he goes, "Well, he's looking, this car is so overloaded, my whole back seat filled with bags." And he was good when he realized I wasn't a threat. Go along your way, no problem. Now, if that was Canada, I guarantee you, I already know I'd be issued a citation, if not dragged in, especially if the car loaded up. And that's why I want to see what's going to happen at Coutts. Came across that way to the United States in Ontario, no issues, had a nice chat, border agent, excellent. I've had no troubles. I've gone 4,000, I'm going to be 4,000 miles tomorrow before I get to the Coutts border. I'm going to hit 4,000 American miles. So you think about that tour I did, and that's just South and Midwest states. It's amazing. And to go through so many counties, experience so many sheriffs, and they're on the road, me driving through, no issues. And to be at stops, at sometimes resort style stops or communities with tourist stuff, and so many Americans there. What I saw of their local sheriffs and policing, amazing. Like I said, hugs. One guy even kissed the sheriff on the cheek. He'd been drinking, and they're all friendly, jovial. I didn't see any issues, and it was actually a black man and a white cop. So, in the community, they're all solid. And I was just like, the mouth hit the floor that you'd see an officer like that. I would never see anything like that in Canada. Our policing is one system. Like some Americans I spoke to, they said, you're wrong when you say FBI. It's CIA that we attribute your cops to, and the stories we get from our sheriffs. When they catch police officers from Canada doing investigations, they find out it's some just community cop from a town or a city, and they go, wow, they're operating like our CIA. So I did get corrected on multiple occasions throughout this tour, and that no, your comparison of FBI to Canadian police is wrong. It's CIA. They operate like their central intelligence agency because it is central in Canada. And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that's true, and thank you for that. That's a major learning curve. Like I said, I'm right. There are 6 different police organizations in the United States. There might be a few more than that, but the majors, you get into county sheriff, state, then you get other state, and then you get other municipal too, and that's at city level. They'll change it like police chief. Some bigger cities have that, but usually it's sheriff for the smallers. Those are the 2 municipal level. State has 2 levels, federal has 2 levels, and then there's almost an executive authority there for 3 other agencies that aren't quite policing. They operate similarly, like CIA, FBI, and there's another that aren't quite there. But Canada is a top-down system. All officers, no matter what you hear from any premier or town or municipality, all of them are identical. It's very clear Americans know this. They know it's a singular system, a singular officer. Police in the USA know it very well. And they were like, yeah, and you're right about these. And they like the idea that I went to serve and protect, that's an American thing, that is not a Canadian thing. They are to serve the crown and protect the crown from the highest authority down, all the way down. That's why First Peoples have a lot of trouble. It's why Canadian subjects have a lot of trouble, because if you're a Canadian subject outside of the crown, you work as an average Joe or Jane, you're at the very bottom of the barrel. The only people being under you are the First Peoples in Canada. And that's the 2 classes at the lowest level for police officers in Canada. That's all their mandates. Don't listen to an Alberta Police Force malarkey or OPP malarkey of Ontario or many other agencies. You can even look at Federation of Police. I'm not running Canadian police down. I'm just saying they have one oath, one book that they're trained and taught with, and that is how they all operate. They may have a variation of, well, your executive oath also encompasses absolutely this level of crown. But again, not any of the Canadian people known as subjects, and definitely not the First Peoples under the Indian Act. Completely last on the list. USA starts the other way. It's completely reversed. Policing starts with the people of the community at the very most basic level. That is entirely accurate of the United States versus Canada. So I want to get into digital ID. I get a lot of people sending me digital ID stuff, and then, oh, look, the States is doing this, Trump's doing this. Okay, everybody, all 50 states incorporate digital ID. All of them. Absolutely. And some are so far along, they're way beyond anything in Canada. I'm in Montana. Did you know if I go to look up a gun store, the first thing I have to do is take a selfie of my face, provide my contact information, my email, and they determine if I'm 21. If the photo doesn't show me as I am gray with wrinkles and they can't identify me as over 21 years old, I can't look at those kind of sites. I can't look at porn. I can't look at many, many things that require age of consent in Montana. That's all encompassing all across the board. Happens as soon as you cross over into Manitoba. Pure digital ID, all adult content. Now, everybody, USA's further advanced on digital ID in every state of the Union than Canada. And I want you to understand something. In USA, there are checks and balances and laws, what they can and can't do with that information, what they can use against you. And Americans can hold them to account. There are checks and balances, a judicial process, and an executive process bestowed upon the people to deal with that if it's misused and abused. Now let's jump over to Canada. Everybody has a right to be worried about Canada and the provinces who've largely been doing digital ID for a long time, because there are no checks and balances to stop any law enforcement at any level. Again, why? Because they're all one thing with one oath, and it's not to any of you. They can use that for anything they want in any of their investigations. Not so in the United States of America, not so in any state of the Union. Now, this transfers into the next portion that we get into, and that's on surveillance. Surveillance. I've went through the entirety of the South, not the deep Gulf Coast South. I still have to do that. I still have 13 states, and I've left room for my next trip. Should I go back east? I'm sure I will, for work probably at some point. But when I do that, I'm going to do that final stage of the South, and then I have to go up to the northeast corner of the states. A lot of small ones there, and that'll bring me up to 48 with California, which I'm coming back next time through. And then I'll have Alaska and I'll have Hawaii left. And then I'm done the USA. But in 36 states, folks, I have done 36 states rather in-depthly, one end to the other, or north to south, or east to west, either way. And I can tell you, one CCTV camera system at one particular interstate off another, what I call secondary highway. One. And where was that? That was outside of, where's my brain? It's in Minnesota, the big city there. Anyways, the only one I've encountered in 4,000 miles on this trip, plus I have another probably a good 12,000 miles on all of my road trips to the U.S. And I have yet to see any major surveillance that I can match to what I see in Alberta. There is nothing like that anywhere. There's no stress in driving anywhere in a multitude of states other than your own driving. And I did find that Autobahn that I call Autobahn, the 80 mile an hour, like Arkansas, lots of twists and turns, like it's like Mountain Alberta or Mountain BC, tighter, and I thought with a lot up and down, and it's like, wow, you really got to be paying attention. But for surveillance or police harassment or cops on you every which way, there was none. Passed a lot of officers, went through all of it, no issues. Any interactions I did have were all positive. Even my last one here in North Dakota on a pullover. I was treated nice, processed fast. Would that ever happen to me in the same light in Canada, especially without insurance? No. It would never happen. I would get fined. It would be a long process. They'd be trying to dig on me. Snarky, mean, get you worked up, get you stressed. I have yet to encounter a police officer anywhere in all of my experience in the United States, which is getting to be substantial now. Any kind of harassing police officer. I've had some late night ones, I do remember, and my car was breaking down. This was, I guess, 2 years ago, and I'm ripping through a town because my motor's going to blow, and I'm trying to get to a major city before it does, and I ripped through this town, big smoke show behind me, big V8 banging away. And, that police officer, once they determined I wasn't a threat, it was right away into help mode to serve and protect. And honestly, that's all I get. I got a fist bump from the deputy here. He gave me a fist bump. Like, right on, man. And I go, well, I got deer lights. It's telling me, he's like, well, we worry because there's deers, and I don't know, you're from Canada, you probably have lots of game too, right? I'm like, yeah, I actually have deer lights at the base of the car. My truck, I have that too. That's just how it has to be. So I think I'll be fine. He was all, okay, good, have a good one. And, like, these experiences would never happen in Canada. It's always, you're made to feel like a piece of shit. You're made like they're going to empower on you. They're superior and my authority over you. And they can even get really snarky with you where you're like, and they're pushing buttons. I don't get that in the United States. I've never got that from any police officer anywhere I've been so far. And I'm going to say this again. This is 36 out of 50 states. I think if any of that existed, being mapped out where I am, all over the place, with very little. And I mean, okay, Gulf of America, I've only had Texas, Arizona. I don't have the rest. And so maybe there's a difference there. I don't know. I'm going to find out one of these trips. That'll be probably my next one. But it's only in Canada. That only exists in Canada. Digital ID isn't abused in America like it is in Canada if the Crown wants. And the things that people are worried about are Canada only concerns, because USA already has checks and balances against that. I want people to understand that. I think I got all the topics tonight that I want to hit. I'm very tired, you can hear it. I drove hard. I did 3 states today, and of course it's going east to west, so they're wider, so it was a lot of distance. And of course I had my rear end too, and I stopped and I got that fixed, so I did good. I'll be in Alberta tomorrow, and I'm going to test out to see how it is now that I've done this big trip in USA. Is my border experience going to be just awful going back into Canada? Because it was a piece of cake coming into the US, as I always know it to be. And we're going to see what happens with Canada. I don't know, but I'm going to see. I'm going to see with all that's changed, and then I'm going to let you all know. And I mean, if I get caught there for hours or something happens like that, I guess I won't post for some time, but we'll see. I'm curious. So that's my video. Again, there's going to be so much I'll post after this. I am starting to get wore out, and these when you do the 12, 13-hour day, 14-hour day car, that's brutal. And that's what I did. Plus I did roadside major repairs, and I'm glad I had the parts, all the tools and everything I needed. So it worked out good for me. Saved a lot of bucks. It was relatively painless. And yeah, we'll get into more. And wait till you see all the people I have, the shots with people who gave me permission to use their name, all kinds of walks of life, literally extremes of America, from the south to the Midwest to the north to the borders. Lots of people to show you that it's a universal thing. America is a beautiful, beautiful place, and the South really, really changed me. Like, it's the fact that it's not what you're kind of led to believe. And then you get there now, it's so not what people say of it. It's just not true, and I love that. And I'm going to be doing more of the South. I'm probably going to look at investing there down the road, maybe not even that far down the road. I've been talking to people about that. When you have property at $2,000 an acre, you'd be nuts as a Canadian not to get in that. Does it bug me about the 6 month on, 6 month off? Would it be better to have a green card? Yes. Can we even get green cards now if you didn't get into this years ago? I don't know. It's tough for 90% of us, and I haven't found that average Joe Jane path yet. I don't see a really easy path unless you can find that employer and you've got that high-end skill. And I mean, I'm never going to give up, but it's a tough go. Otherwise, it's a poor man's route. You got to deal with trying to build the permanent residency, which means 6 months on, 6 months off, and you have to live that. You have to be strict with that. There's going to be payments now of the American government. There's a system in place, and again, everything the Crown does hurts us, the little people. I would tomorrow, if I could, I would move to the United States. If those barriers, I would love to see USMCA canceled. I'd love to see some kind of agreement worked out for Canadians and skilled work go. And I know Trump wanted that, and Americans didn't. And I hope they melt on that down the road, because Canadians are going to be put through a lot of pain. And if you're a decent person who understands and respects America, you should get to go. And, for a lot of us, it's not our fault. We're trying to change our country. We're trying to change views. All the Americans I interacted with, even the radical points like Nashville, which was very negative, it's not the only one. I did get it in Minnesota too, in the big city. So that does exist in the big municipalities. But other than that, all of rural America that I put detail in this time around, massive people on board. And even in the big cities, those working people, you're going to see me with pictures with a lot of folks. And I'll try to tag locations, some names. I had a piece of paper because I went around and said, hey, when I did the news thing where I said, hey, look, I'm on your news. This is real. I ran for the equivalent of state governor for Alberta. I moved on to this Canada 51st. And look at all these articles. Then they were all like, wow, let's get a picture together. And yeah, I'd support you. I support what you're doing. That's great. Okay, because then they read the articles. They say, oh, you want to do all these things. You get that. It's like, yeah. And then that was good. So it's awesome. Lots more to come. A lot of detailed posts to make. You're all going to love that. I did. It was a beautiful experience. And to see me with a whole range of Americans, it's like, wow, this is a really good trip, a really great experience. And there's so many good Americans. They're just such good people, wholesome, down to earth, straight shooters, honest, caring, giving. I got so many gifts along the way too. It's amazing. I better not say too much about that. The Canadian board will be, you gotta talk about all. How much did you get? It's like, well, they're gifts. I don't know. Like, leave me alone. Not even gonna name it because I didn't buy it. So yeah, there's all that. So everybody have a great night, and I'm gonna have a good rest, and we're talking tomorrow. Okay, bye now.